Yes, I still see people connecting. Good. Well, welcome to this officially opening of this second day of seminar. Again, I will emphasize that it's a real pleasure to jointly organize the seminar with the Latvian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the colleagues there. I mean, I'm thinking, but of course, Data and Zana have been really instrumental in preparing those seminar. I want to thank, of course, our the director, Alice Baloade, and Ana Fernandez, my head of unit, for making the event and the collaboration possible. Yesterday, we focused on private sector engagement in development cooperation. And today we go in another direction. And we're going to explore how some issues and how can some issues that we consider crucial can be integrated throughout a development cooperation system. So in other words, how to mainstream cross-cutting priorities. What does that mean? What does that imply? At what levels and in different processes? In order to do that, we wanted to bring about two kinds of discussion. One more strategic across the different cross-cutting priorities with a view from the programming starting point or the starting point, which would be the policy coherence, and end point with the approach to results, which we'll do in the first session. But then with Latvian colleagues, we'll wanted to drive more specifically into some cross-cutting priorities of Latvia and to explore their mainstreaming, namely climate and environment, gender, digitalization, and governance, including civic space, democracy, or human rights. For each of these transversal themes, we'll use a similar approach in the sessions. We'll provide kind of an overview of the issue and its mainstreaming, drawing from the OECD DAC knowledge and practices. We'll bring a peer country perspective to more clearly understand how this mainstreaming is actually operationalized or implemented. And finally, we'll hear from a Latvian colleague to discuss how this mainstreaming of the issue is currently taking place or could evolve for a better outcome and impact in the Latvian context. Clearly, we do have a huge agenda today, but we know that there are huge ambitions on the Latvian side in each of these areas. So again, I encourage you to raise your question, again, in English or in Latvian, orally or in the chat throughout the day, and we'll do our utmost to respond to them. To open the event again today, we'll have the pleasure to hear from Mrs. Alice Baloade, the Director for Development Cooperation at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Latvia, and Ana Fernandez, our Head of Unit on Policy, on our Foresight, Outreach, and Policy Reform. Thank you so much for being with us today again, and Director, you have the floor.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Sydney. Labrīt visiem no Rīgas.
Good morning from Riga. It is a great pleasure for me to meet you for the second day running. Yesterday, we had a fruitful discussion about development cooperation, and today we are looking at different cross-cutting issues. We have a lot of different issues, and this is reflected in the United Nations agenda. We have a large number of aims here and objectives. It also includes gender equality, civic society involvement, and we need to reach these goals. And also in our new guidelines in Latvia for development cooperation, we have a commitment to engage in the United Nations agenda with promoting economic growth, sustainable development, and also best practices in transfer of digitalization. Our project competitions also have principles of human rights, gender equality, prevention of sexual abuse, harassment, climate issues. But what does it mean, mainstreaming of these cross-cutting priorities? How project implementers can assess how they have engaged with these priorities, and how can we avoid a formal approach? What are the methods that can help us so that mainstreaming could be effective and comprehensive? So we are going to look at all these issues. We are going to have an overview. Then we are going to speak about climate And we are going to speak also about digitalization and human rights integration in aid projects. We shall have OECD experts in all of these events. We shall have also participation of experts from other countries, and the Latvian experts are also going to express their views about how to implement these things. If yesterday we spoke about strategic participation, then today we have actually a more practical aim. We are going to develop opinion documents in all of these topics, and they are going to serve as guidelines for project implementation in engaging with all these cross-cutting issues. So I think that we shall have a very busy day, but I hope that this experience is going to be also very useful in how to write projects and how to work with these issues. I would like to thank the OECD team very much, all of them, especially Anna and Sydney. And I would also like to say that the plan on the basis of which we have Latvian financing has for the first time been developed for 3 years, and and this is very important. And yesterday, the SAIM has adopted the budget for next year, where we have the objective to triple our support within the next 3 years, and we shall we really are quite optimistic in this affair, in this respect. So, and quality improvement, of course, becomes more important in this context. So please use this opportunity to ask questions. Also, because we have interpreters, thank them. We would like to thank them for their work. And I will be back in the second part of the seminar. I was going to listen to it. It was very interesting yesterday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Director, and great news on the approval of the budget and the 3-year programming. It's a great news, and also the ambition to triple the engagement is really great. Anna, over to you.
Thank you so much, and good morning again to all. And I hope you had fruitful discussions. I'm sure you had feedback from Sydney and the team about that. So also congratulations for yesterday. Director, congratulations also for the good news. I see a lot of hope and also a lot of investment and engagement in this area of development cooperation. And I hope that, as I mentioned yesterday, that is also a sign that the country, your country, can get closer to the DAC and the DAC constituency at the OECD level. So congratulations for all the investment, all the work that you and the team and your team are putting together to also do these seminars, but also to move forward the agenda of development cooperation in Latvia. So I want to thank and start by thanking also all the speakers that we have from different countries, but also our colleagues at the OECD and our colleagues at the Development Cooperation Directorate that were with you yesterday, but that also are going to be with you today, bringing their evidence and their knowledge on different important issues, like policy coherence for sustainable development, democracy, civil society engagement, also results, and how we can use this framework for results for the SDGs to improve the quality of what we are doing in mainstreaming. I will be very brief. From my side, some key messages on mainstreaming. It is clear that several issues that are relevant for all aspects of development cooperation. We are talking more and more about global public goods, and it's very important to link this agenda of the SDGs to this agenda of the global public goods. This is what mainstreaming is about. It's to make a theme like gender or climate an integral dimension of the organization's design, implementation, monitoring, evaluation, or reporting of development policies and programs. Many donors usually take a dual approach to mainstreaming, with in one hand, standalone activities tackling the issue, on the other hand, addressing the issue more across the level of programs and projects. But mainstreaming doesn't mean that the topic or the issue disappears, and that's the challenge that we need to ensure. Mainstreaming means that the focus should be on achieving change in the different cross-cutting issues. It's also very important to be strategic about what are the cross-cutting issues that should be tackled everywhere in a different way, depending on the context. It's also very important to identify the chain of responsibility of this mainstreaming, and also to adopt to different contexts and markers. And on the markers, I can give you a very brief example. When we were in Portugal discussing the gender marker, not everyone was reporting on the gender marker from the line ministries and from those participating in development cooperation from the public sector. And then the problem was that Portugal was doing a lot of gender, but that was not visible in terms of our ODA statistics or our visibility also to the DAC and the OECD. And then there had to be a conversation between the different line ministers to really find a tool that would allow everyone to report on gender and to say what are the implications of each project and what is the impact of each project for gender equality priorities of Portugal. So mainstreaming is also a possibility to link the national priorities with your development cooperation priorities in a very strategic way. And this is also a way of reinforcing the support at cross levels of government, but also cross levels of society to development cooperation, because people need to understand what are the priorities of the country and how they can measure those priorities and how can together matching the different national and international agendas to put those priorities, to implement those priorities. So it's important to find the right incentives, different actors to advance and mainstream the implementation of the main topics that we are going to discuss today. I want to also highlight that there is a close links between policy coherence and measuring and achieving results in this agenda, and that's what we are going to start by hearing today. And I want to conclude to say that there is a lot of challenges in driving this agenda forward, but there are also a lot of experiences that you are going to hear today about how to do it. And I'm sure, this is a topic that is always very important to address when we are thinking strategically about implementing development cooperation. In fact, all the SDGs are linked, and we need to try to advance important agendas. And some of the most important agendas for also OECD countries relate, as you know, with gender equality, climate and environment, digitalization, but also the question of the values, democracy, and good governance. I stop here and I wish you a fruitful discussions, and I will be also, as the director, listening throughout the day. Thank you so much. Thank you, the team also.